Moving to Europe, feeling like a black guy for the first time. At first, it's a big shock because of what you are since you're born and you cannot do anything against it. First, understand why. When you are in Asia and people ask you to take a picture with you, they don't feel anything bad about you, you know? I won't go too far, but they start to be afraid of you just because you're black. It's good to understand why.
Today we have Mathieu from Réunion Island, who is now living in Japan. Some people often worry when I travel, maybe there's going to be discrimination for me. What message would you give to someone like who's maybe a bit nervous?
Being afraid of a culture or the unknown is something very normal for everyone. It's maybe cliche to say it, but you know where you come from, you don't know where you go. You don't know where you go, but you don't necessarily know what beautiful thing you're gonna miss if you don't go. It's a double-edged thing. There are also a lot of bad things you're gonna encounter. It's up to you to decide if you want to go and see the good thing or being too protective and avoid the bad things. About discrimination, for me, moving to Europe and not knowing at all what it was until I was 18, feeling like a black guy for the first time when not even moving in mainland France, but moving like in East Europe, for example, and really feeling the discrimination or the racism. At first, it's a big shock to face this racism wall and the behavior of people towards you just because you're different than them, or just because you are not especially different than them, but like because of what you are since you're born and you cannot do anything against it. My mechanism defense was to first understand why they have this reaction. Sometimes it's just curiosity because they never saw it, right? And this is not a big problem. When you are in Asia and people ask you to take a picture with you, okay, it can be annoying sometimes, but most of the time they do it because they're curious and they're like, they don't feel anything bad about you, you know? So that's the easy part, that's the okay. When they start to be, I won't go too far, but they start to be afraid of you, just because you're a black person, for example. It's good to understand why. What happened to them to be afraid of black people. And for me, it was a long process. When I arrived to a conclusion that they're afraid of that because media showed them this, that black people did, and cherry-picking those things and monetizing on the fear of people and showing them again and again and again. And you're like, it doesn't matter if there is truth or not truth in it. This person at this moment is scared for a reason. Good reason, bad reason, doesn't matter. He's scared for a reason. And what you can do is show them that at least you are not the person they're scared of. But it's normal and it's natural for human beings and any animals to see something dangerous and be afraid, to see something that you perceive as dangerous. You'll be afraid and you want to protect yourself and people around you. It's important to understand. I think if we all understand that, we will be more able to address this issue of racism in an intelligent way.
Guys, if you're getting any value from this, we would really appreciate if you could subscribe and hit the like button.
I don't think anyone wants to be a bad person, you know? So, well, I had to think about it and force myself to understand that, to be able to live with it, and also to be able to forgive people who are racist and don't like me because I look the way I look. The first reaction is like, what the hell, man? I didn't do anything. Why are you doing like this with me? And it's another way to take this fight. And for me, I'm like more at ease, understanding those people, those countries, and just decide like if it's too much for me, it's okay. I can go to a lot of places when it's not a problem. Coming to Japan or Thailand when being black is not an issue. Going to other countries like Brazil when it's like very common to look like this.
I really appreciate it, and that you spoke about it in a calm and logical way, because it brings emotion out, this topic. But my example is that I realized this with black people because I grew up with a black grandfather and with a lot of family from Ghana. But on the TV, I saw all this dangerous crime, hip hop, violence. But at home and with my family, I never saw that. Yeah. I saw educated, polite, respectful. What I saw as African culture was nothing to do with what I saw on the TV. So I think that's why when I came to Reunion, I felt really comfortable because this is what I was used to. But then for people who haven't had that upbringing and they've only seen what, MTV has shown them.
Yeah. At least you do very good at showing people that, like you have good people everywhere.
There is this stereotype that Japan, racist, xenophobic, but you seem to be, having a good life here. So what would your response be to those kind of claims?
This problem of xenophobia exists in every country and in every community. So, in different degree. Probably Japan will take a lot of time to change their way into being more welcoming to other culture. It doesn't matter. You come to Japan and you do things the Japanese way. And they're going to be surprised at first, as you said, because most of the tourists that come here, they come here in a tour. They go to an expensive hotel and they expect here to be the exact same place than the resort that they have in Thailand. Like doing everything for them and everything. So they go outside and you're like, oh, there is the rich tourist here. But people here don't care. They're here to... It's not a resort, especially if it's not a resort. Like the place is not made for tourists. It's made for people to come and go to work. So if you expect them to change their way because you're here, no, it's not going to work. And it's not because it's Japan, because you've been in La Réunion. If you expect that from people from La Réunion, you're going to get kicked out. But what did you do when you went there? You tried to understand their way of doing things. You even went into learning their language, and you were more than welcome. Between you and I feel like in La Réunion, you don't even need to speak Creole. I'm pretty sure that just you understand, you will be accepted. Because I have a lot of friends that live there and don't speak Creole. They are from La Réunion. They're born, raised there. They don't speak Creole. They understand only and they speak French. And they're perfectly integrated. Here in Japan, you use the same software that they use. You use chopstick to eat the way they do. You remove your shoes. You be respectful. You say thank you after eating the meal. They're going to be super nice to you. And the most experience that we have here in this hostel with all the travelers that comes here is like, I bring them to some places. I show them a little bit of the way they do things. And then I go back because I have to work tomorrow and they're in holidays. The day after, when they come back, they tell me like, we had an exceptional night with some Japanese people not speaking the same language, but paying me drinks and food all night and showing me their favorite bars and everything. And we went to sing karaoke together and everything. Just because at first they were not like the tourists, but were like speaking loud, like, I want sushi. No, this is, you're not that kind of people. You're like asking them, how was your day? And what are you doing tonight in Japanese? And they try to explain to you what we're going to do, and you're interested, so they're going to show you more because they're super happy, actually. And it's weird because here in this hostel, everyone says that Japanese are super, super welcoming.
I think each society does have a stereotype, and I do believe stereotypes exist for a reason. But when you dig really deep, you find that people actually differ from person to person as well, right? So it's good to have this cultural awareness, I think, overall of what the culture is kind of like so that you don't overstep boundaries, like you said. But I think it's also useful to recognize that actually, even if there is a stereotype, for example, in Japan, people are very reserved and respectful and polite. Accept that and approach the culture based on that. But I'd say go in with an open mind as well, because you meet people who are very different and they can educate you and teach you new things. You have to treat everybody as an individual. And if somebody has a prejudice against you, it's not personal. How do you think your perception of your own identity has evolved throughout your journey from Réunion Island to Asia? Has it changed you in any way?
It did change me a lot. I think it was easier for me to adapt because the different culture in La Réunion live together, keeping their own identity. What I used to say to people is the only difference there is what we eat and in which temple we go. It happened to me to do some Tamil ceremonies with some part of my family, while the day after going to the church with some other part of my family because I'm born Christian. But celebrate Eid with some people, even not going to pray at the mosque, of course, but like, you know, the celebration is open to everyone. Chinese New Year is also something I participated to. When I celebrate Christmas in my family, everyone is welcome. And when they celebrate those event, like I feel welcome too. When I go there, I'm not pretending that I'm going to the mosque and pray their God. I'm not pretending that I'm going to the temple and pray their deities, never. I'm celebrating with them with the rules of their traditions. So when I go to a country, I do the same. It can be as simple as removing your shoes before going to someone's place. You're going to a shrine and it's not a religion, but they ask you to bow just to not hurt people. And you're like, I'm not doing it because I'm believing. I'm doing it just to be respectful and not to hurt people in their culture. We just need to respect those things. There are things that we do at home, and if you bring a friend at home, you ask them like, oh, but at our home we do that, so please do that, otherwise my parents gonna be like, so we do the same in their country. And when traveling in other cultures, you take what you think is good for you, for your close one, for the world. If you think, oh, they do that in their country and it's good, probably you're going to keep it and bring it with you to the next destination as well, or back home if you go back home.
I say that after a few years of traveling, my character and personality is like my bag. A few things added, a few things taken away, but mostly the same. That's about how you've picked up things as you've kind of gone along. How do you maintain your roots being so far away?
First of all, this family. I keep talking to my parents quite often, and we still do a lot of things together, even if we are in a distance. So I keep speaking Créole, and that's something that I think I lose my French faster than Créole, to be honest. Then there is the music that I grew up with, that are still in my heart, my memory. If I get a guitar or djembe or anything, I will probably start to sing those songs. But and probably if one day I have a kid, I will sing them the same song that my parents sang to me. So you have those core things that will never change. People don't realize it too much most of the time, but it's inside and it's not gonna change, right? And then you have food, and I do cook curry poulet, curry poisson here, because one thing I couldn't do in Europe because the tomatoes are not the same, but I can do a rogaille saucisse here. I did a civet with a deer. Yep. Yeah, because we have deer here, the wild deer here, and I did it with tomato, thyme, and onion, the way we do it in La Réunion. Maybe it was an excuse to do it for myself, but it was an excuse. But the excuse was like, I want to introduce you to how I eat in my land and prove to all of you that our cuisine is superior to everywhere else in the world.
That's the French side of him coming out now, eh?
Yes, yeah, it is, but we are French. Yeah?
I think it's important that you can still maintain your identity, wherever that's from. For me, I've got family from Pakistan, Ghana, England, but also not be restricted by it. Some people feel like, no, you have to stay in this. But for me, it sounds like the same with you, that because of the diversity from a young age, it's actually easy for you, or easier, to go to a new place, see people different to you. We're used to it. Yeah, you said some of your family are probably Hindu, some of them are Christian. Okay, go to Shintoism now in Japan. Okay, they're different. Just that, growing up with respect, you can probably go anywhere, So it's a great thing.
And there is the thing that when you learn to take good things from other culture, at a point you need to look at yourself and look at your own culture and be like, what is good in my own culture, and what are the parts that I don't want to lose? The concept of family, the concept of friendship, that like we grew up in the district playing football with anything. It doesn't need to be a ball, you know. And the friends that you made on the way and the way that you were connected to each other, it's for example, for me, it's a value that I want to keep, and I want to protect my friend in Japan the same way my friend were protecting me back in La Réunion. And it's weird here because the relationship in Japan are really not the same. They don't have as many friends as we can have. And what they call friends are not the same definition that we have in France, and really not the same definition that we have. Someone I know in La Réunion is someone I know. A friend is someone I'm responsible for. And more we go up together, and more we're gonna get connected, and it's gonna be close to family. It's not weird for people from La Réunion when we have a family gathering that we have also some friends of the family that are here all the time because they're considered part of it. In Japan, it's completely different. And there is it's values, right? So there is no judgment of what is the best, what is good, and what is bad. I don't want to say, and I don't want to pretend that the way we do in France or in La Réunion is better than another culture. But it's the way I like to live. So if it's important for me, I will try my best to keep it. Those are a few values from La Réunion that will be always here and will make me stay a guy from La Réunion all my life.
I first went to Réunion 10 years ago, and I hadn't been back for 10 years. But the close friends I had there, Stéphane, Raphaël, Nathanael, after 10 years, they were exactly the same. You know, anything I needed, they're there. You know, they came at the airport for me. They drove me around and everything. I ate with their families, and it's a brotherhood, really. It was stronger than friend. And I think that's it. A lot of people who go to Reunion, studying abroad, for them, especially a lot of Europeans, I think it's overwhelming. Like, people we met in the street, they saw that we were lost. They started speaking to us, a family. That evening, we're eating at their house, you know, and I was scared because in London, like in the UK, that's not so common anymore. And I remember being with my British friend saying, like, are you sure we should go to this person's house? Like, I don't know, like, what should we do? They just wanted to welcome us in, try their local foods and everything. And yeah, it's really it's such a great value to keep together. Un petit message en créole pour tous des bons réunionnais qui sont en train de regarder le podcast.
Bon, déjà, pardon. M'y rentre pas la Réunion, désolé. Je connais un bon peu. Ça va en France. La moitié revient parce qu'il ne peut pas supporter, et moi, ma partie encore plus loin. Mais de plus en plus, mes voix de monde vient au Japon depuis la Réunion. Ils rencontrent bonnes Réunionnais, ils voyagent à travers le monde. Peut-être ils n'en rendent pas autre compte, mais pour un petit île, un petit pays, comme nous dit, un petit île, avec pas beaucoup de monde, hein. Aller aussi loin que le Japon, trouve bonne Réunionnais en Amérique du Sud. C'est incroyable. Ma partie au Népal, dans des montagnes, m'a trouvé un Réunionnais. C'est incroyable. Nous sommes tellement petits. Et je suis fier de ceux toutes qui voyagent. Et si tu viens un jour au Japon, ben viens dire bonjour. Vous êtes les bienvenus.
Il n'est pas réunionnais, moi, mais en fait, il était choqué de rencontrer Aou ici. Et à chaque fois que je rencontre des Réunionnais, ils sont toujours très, très, très accueillants. Et ils sont partout aussi. Petite île, mais ils sont partout.
Il est bien content parce que l'hospitalité, je pense que l'a fait du bien à tout le monde. Donc si on est accueillant avec vous, je pense que déjà, ou les assez créole pour être considéré comme. Hein. Mais, parce qu'en vrai, bon, le gars, il est anglais. Hein. C'est pas un métropolitain qui va apprendre le créole. Hein. Le gars, il est anglais. Hein. Donc, il a fait l'effort. Et ben, bien vite, toute bonne réunionnais aussi a fait l'effort d'aller voir ailleurs et que ça tirante ou que ça tirante pas. Aller voir ailleurs, apprendre. Et puis, ramène des bonnes choses à la Réunion. Et ramène les bonnes choses de la Réunion partout ailleurs aussi. Hein. Parce que ici, nous l'est peut-être au Japon, mais le 20 décembre, nous fêtons toujours la fête CAF. Nous passe Maloya. Hein, oui. Nous faisons Rougaï d'Akatine pour tout le monde parce que, avec ce que nous peut, au moins les en conserve, donc les facile à ramener. Et cet échange que nous pouvons avoir, ben, les incroyable parce qu'il fait grandir tout le monde. Il fait grandir tout le monde. Si à moi, mais peu apporte aux Japonais un petit peu du concept de famille et d'amour que nous pouvons avoir, de prendre soin des uns des autres, ben, il est content. Et si Bana, il peut apprendre à nous un petit peu plus de tolérance, de savoir vivre avec les autres, et on ne sait pas dire les autres politesses parce que ben voilà, mais parce que la Réunion n'est quand même pas trop mal niveau politesse, on va dire. Hein, franchement, des fois elle est un peu exagérée, mais nous les quand même assez bon niveau avec le Japon, tout ça. Mais des valeurs de fierté commune et haute que nous pouvons avoir, que nous partageons avec d'autres pays aussi. Le fait de pouvoir échanger ça, ben c'est une chance exceptionnelle. Ça va faire grandir tout le monde. Donc voyager.
C'est ça, c'est le fait, en fait, les Réunionnais, la haute couture, elle est très belle et vous avez grandi avec une mentalité de accepter et échanger des cultures différentes. Et c'est ça qui j'apprécie beaucoup de la Réunion. Et je veux continuer avec cette mentalité de partager, pas garder, mais partager la culture. Et merci. Et japonais?
En japonais. Non, mais je raconte à tous les Japonais qui regardent la vidéo que le plot de One Piece, il vient de chez nous, hein. Il vient de chez nous, hein. Le pirate que la cache son trésor, c'était Olivier Levasseur, que les gens de la Réunion, que les gens ils viennent à la Réunion toujours pour rôder son trésor. Hein. Donc un petit message, mais non, mais ça pas fait le ça m'a fait trop le fier quand même. Hein. C'est très bien, c'est très bien.
Can you show us a bit of your Japanese that you've learned?
もちろんもちろん。まあ皆さん動画見てくれてありがとうございます。ラファのチャンネルフォローよろしくお願いしますね。はい。
本当にありがとうございます。
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you too
It's been amazing.
for having me in your channel. It's a beautiful channel what you have, guys.
Merci Azot.